When you look back on your playing days at K-State, like how fondly do you look back on that time in your life?
I think I said this. I think it was there was a lot of good stuff that happened. There was a lot of great stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't so happy about. I like the relationships. Obviously, the relationships is the ultimate thing that I've got out of playing sports just in general. I still keep in touch with, the dudes that were close to me then. And, we still have really good relationships. And it was fun. It was definitely fun, playing on Saturdays and being back at home. And, a lot of my family getting to see me play and friends getting to see me play. Those are, really cherished moments that I've had. So.
Did you get a sense, like going into the Baylor game during that week, that things were going to come unhinged, or was it a total surprise to you?
I had a red flag. That was your spider senses started tingling a little bit because, like I said before, I was like, people were really happy about being number one, and it was like we still got 2 more games at least to play, or 2 more games to play until we have to play for a national championship. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like there was a sigh of relief possibly about it because we didn't know what to expect. Like I said, we just didn't. That wasn't something we prepared for. Like our thing was winning the Big 12, which I understand. You win the Big 12, then you win the national championship. But that's not always the case. You can win the Big 12 without going to the national championship. So I think it was an expectation thing. Like I said, I always say that you always and like I said, there's a coaching thing that I don't understand either because I do appreciate the one day at a time, one game at a time thing. But let's gather our focus and what's the ultimate goal? Because that's what you want. You want a group of people trying to achieve that same thing. So I don't know if that would have mattered in that situation, because it was just a perfect, perfect storm in a sense for us, for them, I guess. I guess for us, actually, luckily for us, right? And a lot of, I think, like I said, Ty got hurt, Steele on the D-line got hurt, and there was, people were put in some positions that they probably weren't ready for yet. So, yeah. But, yeah, that would be the, big knock on that thing. So I think that, All-American and, definitely being up for the Heisman was for Colin, but you asked me about the Baylor game. But, yeah, I went back to the last question, my fault.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I think that was a perfect storm of a lot of things. And, I think I was watching part of the game earlier, and the commentator said a little bit what I was saying. And it was like, I don't know why they completely went away from the running game. And, that was, probably a lot of what we were thinking. And I think in the moment, I thought it was a good idea because I wanted us to pass the ball more anyways. But, when you look back at the season, the trajectory of the season and how we won games, it was, so out of character for us. So, yeah, that's probably the thing the theme of that game was out of character.
I traveled, and I was at every game. In, 2012, I don't think I've ever seen a more, stunned crowd in my time covering K-State than the West Virginia crowd when you guys went in and just destroyed them. I mean, from the word go, absolutely destroyed them. Do you have any good stories from the West Virginia game, or what your memories were from the West Virginia game?
They weren't good. They weren't good. I said that the whole week. I was like, it doesn't have to be a close game, because I was like, we should beat them by at least 2 touchdowns, at worst. And I was like, it doesn't, I don't know if people remember that. I kept saying, I was like, it doesn't have to be a close game. And then at halftime, we were smashing them. I was like, it doesn't have to be a close game, because if you watch their offense play, a lot of what they did, the defense wasn't good at all. The defense was terrible. But their offense, a lot of the stuff that they did was basically, they was backyard football. The play collapses, and Tavon Austin does what he does, and, Gino buys time, and Stedman Stedman was probably the best receiver. Tavon was the most, explosive guy, but Stedman was a great receiver. But they just kind of get open, and nobody can keep a good receiver like in coverage for that long, So that was a lot of what they did. They was, scramble drill and, they scored touchdowns. And I was like, I watched them, I was like, these dudes ain't that good, Like, I was like, I don't know. I think that, a lot of the hype was because of, the numbers they're putting up. But I was like, the teams that they're playing weren't necessarily amazing either. So I was like, you just got to look at things in the right perspective. So, the West Virginia game was, I think for some people it was a surprise, but I think for me and a lot of players it wasn't really a surprise because I didn't think that they were that good of a team.
Well, the other thing, this is from the same season, and I'm laughing because I just pulled it up on YouTube here to double check this and make sure. The Miami game, you guys convinced Coach Snyder to let you run that trick play, like the behind the back pass thing. Like what's the story on that? Like how hard of a sell was that to get that actually out there on the field?
I don't think it was that hard of a sell to get it on the field because we had practiced it, and I thought the play was dope. I don't know who came up with the behind the back thing, but I thought the play was dope. It's unfortunate that the D lineman decided that he wanted to be All-American on that play because he hit what was that, a right guard, and back into Colin. So Colin was messed up when he threw it to me, and I was pissed at Colin. I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" Like, and then I probably didn't say it like that. I didn't say it that night, but that was pretty much what I said. But when I seen it, it was like, oh, it wasn't even his fault. Because like we did this a million times. It was so I'm thinking, and then Colin then froze up when we actually came time to do the play. He threw it all super hard because he was supposed to just kind of lay it out. So like I'm preparing to just get like a really soft toss or loft, and it just comes out super way faster than I thought it was. And so I'm pissed off at him, and I was like, oh dang, it wasn't his fault. I thought the play was I thought it was a great design. I'm surprised nobody's even tried it again. Somebody should try that play because I think it can work. But we practiced it a couple weeks going into it, and I honestly was surprised that we used it, like because we were beating the Nets out of Miami at this point. I think, and I was like, it was pointless to even call the play because it's one of those plays, and I think I said this before in the interview. It's one of those plays where you want to keep it in like some Boise State, Oklahoma type situation, where nobody's thinking that's going to happen. And I ain't even gonna lie, I wouldn't have been the person to. I mean, because I had the best hands, they wanted me to do that play. But I think that they probably should have had Tyler doing it anyways, because if it's between him and me beating somebody to the corner, I'm gonna give it to Tyler or Tremaine, because Tremaine had the best, short area quickness out of all of us. So it would have been one of them that was running it, but I guess because I was the older one and, because they trusted my hands, they let me do it. But because it was like you would have one man to beat on the edge. And you most likely wouldn't because he's expecting the jump pass, so he probably is going to drop. But you're basically just beating him to the pylon. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't have done it, but they was definitely both way quicker than I was in short area, so I would have done that. But I thought the play was good.
Well, for what it's worth, watching it, you are absolutely 100% correct. And I don't know who the right guard was. I didn't pay close enough attention there, but the right guard got blown up. So that is what messed the play up.
Hey, anybody would have got blown up on that play. The way that dude shot off the ball, I'm like, who is this dude? He's probably a typical case of, this happens. I think every team has like two of these dudes. They have these D linemen that are really amazing. They should be amazing players, but they only play when they want to. And that happened to be one of the plays that he decided he wanted to play. So, whoever the D lineman, whoever our old lineman was, it would have happened to any of us.
Yeah, Chris Harper talking with me. Dana Dimmel is a guy who took, and this is more, I think, of like after you had left, like 2015 when they struggled, 16, 17. He took a lot of bullets from fans and a lot of crap from fans, and I think that's natural, right? Like fans want to blame somebody, and they're going to go after the offensive coordinator. Yeah. Like what was your relationship like with him? Like, what do you think of Dana Dimmel, the offensive coordinator?
I love Coach Dimmel. I mean, I don't have to agree with your coaching philosophy to like you as a person. Is that, or do you mean more his coaching philosophy?
I would say both. Yeah, I think both.
Yeah, I appreciate Coach. I like Coach Demo. He's a really good dude. His coaching philosophy, I didn't really mess with it because he was a running the ball focused coach. And we was in a Big 12 where everybody threw the ball. So we're like the stepchild of the Big 12 where everybody's throwing the ball and we running the ball. So, but the next year they changed. They threw the ball a lot more. So I don't think he was necessarily. I don't know who was the coordinator and stuff like that the next year. I assume it was him, but so it wasn't necessarily that he was unwilling. But I do think that he was a lot more conservative than I would like, for sure. I remember there's one game because it just felt like sometimes we were playing to not to lose, and we played clock control so much. Like I remember when we played Baylor my junior year, and it was like we were just trying to settle to kick a field goal. We were trying to wind the clock down. So it's like that doesn't matter. Baylor can score in 2 seconds. We need to go score a touchdown. It didn't seem like that we were trying to do that. So he was a lot more conservative than I would want to be. But I definitely I mess with Coach Demo. So you don't hear that bad from me about Coach Demo.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. How much of that, though, if you're talking about like a situation like that, like 2-minute drill, whatever, toward the end of, like, how much of that is Dana versus how much of that is Bill? Like, how much did Coach Snyder have a final say in like what you guys were doing on a play-by-play basis?
I think he probably didn't have. It's unfortunate because a lot of the things that fans love, it's that thing is our people being the baby with the bathwater, because a lot of the things that you loved about our team was because of Coach Demo. So, people blame, him or whatever after the fact, but one of the things is we wouldn't have been the same team we would have been without him. So it's just, I think the overall thing is comes across as just having a balance, and I think that we probably didn't necessarily have that at times. And, it showed at the worst times possible. So, I think that he had a huge part in our success. So it's unfortunate that people don't understand that and they don't see the behind the scenes of what goes on. So, but, I don't think we're as good of a team without him either,
Yeah.
Because I don't like playing the hypotheticals because it's like if he was offensive coordinator, co-offensive coordinator. If he wasn't there, who was there? So I don't know, but I know that he was there, and he has a great deal of, a great part of our success. So
yeah. So I'm going to ask you here for if you have a good Tyler Lockett story, and I will give you this information. It was maybe a month ago. I had Tremaine on and was talking to Tremaine, and when I asked him that, Tremaine said, "Go look at Lockett's socks," because he's like the one guy in the world who doesn't care what his socks look like, so he would have like crumpled up, goofy-looking socks.
No swag in the field.
Yeah, what's the best Tyler Lockett story that you have?
My best story was probably his freshman year when he came to camp. And this is the year we still could have two-a-days. And I think his freshman year was the last year you could do two-a-days. I might be wrong, but. Yeah, two-a-days, and the dude was going so hard. Like, he was going so hard, like with every drill, everything. And eventually, he just it wasn't like he was dehydrated or anything, but he eventually just collapsed. Like, he was on the ground, and Tyler can be dramatic. So it was, I didn't really know him like that. Later on, I found that out. But he was really done. And I think this summer that was crazy hot. I don't remember. I think this was the summer because Tyson would have been a senior. Yep, it was. So this summer was like the hottest summer I think I had been in Kansas too. So, it was like, I think it was the end of practice or close to the end of practice, and he was just on the ground, laid out. And I was like, I went up to him, I was like, "Hey, bro," I was like, "You're gonna die if you keep going that hard." You keep going that hard, because that was how hard he went. And obviously, it worked out for him. So that's probably my best Tyler Lockett story.